As many of you guys know, we've been using the Pirelli Scorpion XCRC tires for the last 3 years or so. But last year in 2025, Pirelli not only changed or improved the XCRC, but they launched a new tire. This XCRH is supposed to be a lot faster than the old tire. So in this video, I'm gonna take a look at the details of the new tire. I'm gonna take a look at how they changed my beloved XCRC and give you all the juicy details that I can right now in the middle of the winter. And I'm gonna start with the obvious differences that are mentioned right here on the packaging. And I'm specifically talking about the new race compound versus a SmartGrip compound that they've used in the past. The new Race XC compound is supposed to provide us a modest 7% rolling resistance improvement for the XCRC. I know many people complained that this tire was fairly slow compared to others. However, the same Race XC compound is used with the new XCRH, and this guy is supposed to be 40% faster than the XCRC in Pirelli's internal testing. They still come in 120 TPI. We still have one type of compound rubber throughout the tire, so when they wear out, they perform similarly, if not the same. Both XCRC and RH come in 29 or 2.4, and I assume they are built on the same casing. It's just the thread pattern that is different. You still have the reinforced sidewall called ProWall, or you can go for the lighter version of the tires, still called Lite. And next to it, you're gonna see the rolling, the grip, and the protection offered by each version of these new tires. These are tubeless tires. Scan that QR code will take you to their website. But here in the top left corner, you're gonna see the dimensions, so 60-622, and I'm gonna measure that in a second. But one thing that is not mentioned on these tires anymore is the actual weight. And there's something interesting happening here. Every variant of the XCRH is supposed to be 690 grams, but if we go for the XCRC, again, all tires are supposed to be the same weight, whether they use Lite or ProWall casing. Those older SmartGrip tires always came under the specified weight, and I have in the lineup here one of the old XCRCs. I have one of the old XCRCs Lite. Then I have the new compound, so the new race compound, XCRC Lite and ProWall, XCRH Lite and ProWall. All these are supposed to be 690 grams, 700, and this one is supposed to be 650. Here is 625, not surprised. Old SmartGrip, this is ProWall, supposed to be 700. Here is 713 grams. New RC Lite, this is the Race XC compound, 630 grams. ProWall version of that is supposed to be 690, comes to 717. The RH first, the Lite casing, 647 grams, way under the 690. And the ProWall version of the RH supposed to be 690. It comes out to 685, so pretty much true to the specifications. That makes these very competitive. If you remember, for the Schwalbe Rick that I have behind me, or the Vittorias, we're talking about weights over 750 grams each. Interestingly, all these new Race XC compound tires are made in Italy. All the previous SmartGrip tires were made in Thailand. And yes, I can't wait to take a look at the new Conti tires. These are supposed to be fairly light as well. But how do you identify the new versus the old XCRC? And I would say very simply, take a look at the sidewall. You're gonna see the old XCRC with the big letters and then XCRC bunched up together. The new one uses smaller characters, followed by XC, and then you have the tire identification. It's gonna be RC, RH, or M. Now, taking a look at the thread pattern, here's the old next to the new XCRC, and there is a difference here. The center knobs of the XCRC are now shallower, and they spaced out the knobs on the tire itself. So knob to knob is about 61 millimeters, and on the new one is about 64. So again, 3 millimeters, that is obvious with the naked eye. The RH, very similar, about 63 millimeters difference, same height of the cornering knobs. So with the new compound and the lower rolling center, Pirelli says that the new XCRCs are about 15% faster than the old tire. And the RH, the semi-slick, this is about 40% faster compared to the XCRC. And indeed, if you take a look at the recently posted tests, thank you Bicycle Rolling Resistance for testing these tires, you can see that impressive 16 watts of the RH in the Lite casing. That's now beating some of the old standing Schwalbes like Thunderbird or Rocket Run. But let me get these installed on a 30 millimeter ID rim. Remember, they're made for that. This is the Elite Wheels NAR XC. And a few things that I noticed right away is that tire bead, man, is tight. Second is the quality of the rubber. It definitely feels different than the old, very similar to the new Schwalbe Rick. I inflated them tubeless, no problem. Casing is perfect on both of them. You can see how those cornering knobs are further apart from the center now. And that definitely gives the tire a more squarish profile compared to the old XCRC. If you're not familiar with their thread patterns, take a look at the directional arrow. And measuring the new XCRC, you can see that 60-ish millimeter casing and slightly wider cornering knobs. The RH is no different, about the same 61, 62 millimeters corner knobs to corner knob. When it comes to height, the old tire installed on the 24 millimeter rim, that's 57 millimeter height. The new RC is 79 millimeters minus 23 of the rim, so similar. And the RH, you have 77 minus 23, so about 54 millimeters. But that difference in height definitely comes from those center knobs that are just tiny, man, something under 1 millimeter. And I didn't mention it, but these new tires are really, really hairy. Take a look at that. It's kind of funny. Now, how are these gonna perform in real life? If you take a look at this old XCRC, we've used it until pretty much became an RH as a rear tire. The cornering knobs on the RH are aggressive. Looks like they kept the triple middle row of knobs from the XCRC, and you have a lot more of those tiny, tiny knobs to give you some grip for braking. And most importantly, I trust Pirelli for knowing what they're doing with their rubber. So needless to say, I cannot wait to try these tires out. Is there a conclusion to this? New race compound that's used by XCRC, RH, and M. You have slightly wider tire. You have more of a squarish or more aggressive cornering knobs, and you have the new super fast RH to compete with something like a Thunderbird. So what's not to like out there? Now, interestingly, for me would be to know if you run away from XCRC before because they were too slow, and if you are interested in the new RH. Are you gonna run RH front and rear, or you're gonna stick with RC front and RH rear? That's what I think we're gonna do. Let me know in the comments below. I hope you guys find this kind of detailed video about tires useful. And if you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. Let me know in the comments what you think about all these new crop of tires, including the Rick behind me, which I kind of liked. And until next time, hope to see you guys on the trails, probably skiing this time of the year and not riding bikes. Cheers, guys. Cheers.